Mark and Ann here. We are back on the
Morning.
CareQuest podcast show. How you doing, Ann?
I'm doing great. How are you this morning?
Doing all right.
Good.
Got some rain, so that should be a
Amen.
good
Whew,
thing.
needed it.
We're excited. We're going to be kicking off our 4-part series. So, Ann, if you want to just kind of give a quick overview.
About what all there is out there, and then we'll kind of deep dive a little bit into independent and assisted living. Our next part of this will be for skilled care nursing home versus a rehab hospital and the differences there versus short-term care at a nursing home, that kind of thing, and personal care homes and where they fit in. And then the third part of this series will be about home health, home care, hospice, how that plays a part. And then I'm really excited for our fourth one because we're going to have a guest join us to discuss hospice care versus palliative care and just kind of wrap up the series with that. And I think that'll be interesting.
Yeah, just hearing you go over all this, there's a lot to this.
There's a whole lot to this.
There's a lot of
different care.
And that's just scratching the surface. So I think it's really good that you're heading up putting this series out because a lot of times people unknowingly get confused about what is what. So
they do.
Really, let's kick off part 1 with independent versus assisted versus memory care. So
sounds great.
Jump in there and let's open that up.
All right. Sounds good. So when you talk about, there are a lot of different levels of care out there. And they can be very confusing to people. But you've got just kind of scoot down through a list I wrote. And you're right. I'm scratching the surface with everything that's available out there, but you've got independent and assisted living. Of course, you've got both of those. You've got skilled nursing home, adult daycares, home health, home care. Home health and home care are two different things, and they get interchanged sometimes. Short-term rehab, you have rehab hospitals, you have personal care homes, you have hospice, you have palliative care. So there's a lot out there to really talk about and dig into, and when do you need each one and all those kind of things. So today I thought we would talk and just start kind of at the beginning. We're going to talk about independent and assisted. So when you talk about independent, there's a lot of things that come to mind for people. There are communities out there now that are 55 and older or 65 and older that they've built, and it's your own home. But they do have a lot of geared activities for people in that age group. Typically it's not people with children there and those kind of things. But a lot of people think about that as independent living. Well, you and I then are independent living. I mean, I'm not in that type community, but so it's a little different. When I'm talking about independent, I'm really thinking more of when someone moves into, because there are assisted living facilities out there that have an independent part to the community. So you can have a community that has independent, has assisted living, and then I didn't even mention a while ago, memory care. So you can have all three parts in one community. We have some of those in our area here in Georgia, in the middle Georgia area, and I know there's some in Atlanta area as well. And then Florida has a lot of that. So when you move into an independent like that, you are moving into, usually it will be something like an apartment. Sometimes it's more of a
bungalow or
a home, right? Bungalows, those kind of things, duplex apartments, that kind of thing. But you can move in even when it's an apartment where you take an elevator upstairs, you're on the 3rd floor, but it is a full apartment. But you have everything, just like a home. It is an apartment. However, you do have access to a dining room where they do 3 meals for independent. They schedule activities for independent. What they don't do is provide that care. There are people in those communities that are there to certainly check on, that you can report into and talk with about issues. They provide all the maintenance. There's no lawn care for you to do. There's none of that. You just have your own apartment there. You can cook in your apartment. You have a full setup kitchen, all of those things. So you're able to still come and go, maintain that. You just give up all the dealing with maintenance outside and dealing with maintenance
Mhm.
inside. They'll come in
Yeah.
and fix whatever there is. So you're dealing with a lot of that. So that's a lot of independent that you get. And it can be really good for a couple that wants to downsize, maybe. Maybe they want to travel a lot.
Yeah.
If you're one that wants to travel and do that, then independent might be something really nice to look at. There's different levels that you can go into. If you go into what's called a CCRC, a continuing care community, and there's a couple of those around as well in our area and in Georgia. If you go into that, you might have a higher buy-in.
Right.
You're selling your home, you're moving in there. But what comes with that too is that as you age, you can do what we always call aging in place
Hmm.
because you have access then to move into the assisted living. If you needed memory care, you could move into memory care. And a lot of them not only have a memory care, they do have a nursing home attached with it as well. So memory care is that's a locked unit, a different unit than just a
Hmm.
skilled nursing home. So you've got all that is available to you if you do independent.
I
So
think a good way
not a
of people
bad
to,
thing.
yeah, a good way for people that's considering maybe downsizing or they want to look into independent living is like you had said earlier, there's the strictly independent communities to where
Mhm.
if you need to go to assisted or memory care, you have to leave that neighborhood, as they say. There's nothing
Yeah.
else on the grounds to where the places that have all three, you have to move to a different room or a different part on the
Yes.
property, but you're aging in place on the same property, the same staff, the same,
Mhm.
amenities, all those things. So I think when people are considering that is like, do you want to have those options for the
Mhm.
next decision if that does come up
Yeah.
in your
Yeah,
life?
exactly. And there's it's a lot of good to it. A lot of good to
Mhm.
it. Assisted living can be in that same community. And then there's a lot of places that have an assisted living and they have a memory care. They don't offer the independent piece.
Mhm.
So when I worked in assisted, I think the thing that came up the most for people thinking about even assisted living um, was that they can't cook. You
Mm.
don't have a full kitchen.
Right.
You can have a microwave, you can have your coffee pot, you can have all that, but there is no stove. Assisted living's not allowed to have that.
Right.
Assisted living also comes with more hands-on care.
Mhm.
So when you look at assisted living, you're talking about having med techs that pass medication or even nurse there 24/7 that is there. You can get assistance with your activities of daily living, your
Mm.
ADLs,
Mhm.
which of course is just your dressing, your grooming. Some people have
Toileting and
incontinent,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
incontinent issues, those kind of things. So you do have assistance with all of that in assisted living. Now, the thing to consider with that, and we're not getting into all the payer stuff right now because that's a
Right.
whole different podcast to talk about. Is how do you pay for all this? But
Yeah.
typically, your independent and your assisted living, and even a memory care, is going to be private pay. Well, you're looking at different levels even when you get into assisted living. They
Right.
will say, "We can do this for you, but it's gonna cost X amount of dollars." Sometimes even the medication management, going in, you are gonna know already up front that it's gonna be, and I'm throwing out a figure, it is one that I have seen in the past, but it was $250 when you came in the door for
Yeah.
us to give out your meds and stuff. So you
Yeah.
have to look at those things, and there's a lot to consider with it. But you get a lot of care. You have the dining room that you eat all your meals in.
Yeah.
Now, again, you can, depending on the apartment, depending on the community. I have worked for both. I have seen where you had a small, under the counter size refrigerator.
Right.
And then I have seen where you have a full-size
Yeah.
refrigerator, but those things make a difference.
Yeah.
If you're somebody, and these are examples of what I saw in trying to help people in making that decision. The one where we had the full-size refrigerator, people loved it. Well, it does make you feel more like, "Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not giving up that
Yeah.
much."
You're
It's a
not
little
in
bit
a,
better.
yeah.
Plus, if you're a person that, just one person comes to mind when I talk about this is, they were somebody that loved their soft drinks, loved
Yeah.
Cokes, and just
Yeah.
kept them piled in the refrigerator. Well, those smaller refrigerators, that's a little harder to do.
Yeah.
So looking at those kind of things when you're going in and looking at these places makes a huge difference for people. You can also have a separate bedroom that you actually have a bedroom door that closes,
Mhm.
or you may have an apartment set up where it's a little more open. You may not have a bedroom door that closes, but you do have a separate bedroom. You do have a den area. They all have really nice size bathroom areas with
Mhm.
walk-in showers. A lot of things to be considered when you're looking at assisted living. That the older we get, the easier that makes it on
Yeah.
all of us. And then if you are someone that is considering assisted living and you have a walker, you can get in and out of those showers much easier.
Yeah.
Most of us don't have that at home.
Right.
So assisted living is something that you get all the amenities, and there's different things. A lot of them have theaters. They do
Right.
movie night, and when I say a theater, they're nice.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
they're really
You'll
nice.
fall asleep in the recliner type
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
yes. So really nice theater areas. Most of them have a bistro area plus a main dining room.
Some
A
of them
lot
have
of them.
bars.
Oh gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
libraries.
Yeah.
Um, you
I've been
know,
into
I
some that are like little resorts.
They
It's sort
are.
of,
Swimming
yeah.
pools, absolutely, especially in Florida area, they offer those,
Yeah.
but, even the one that, one of the companies I worked for had a bourbon room that was
Mhm.
just the coolest thing, it was really nice. They had humidors for cigars.
Wow.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really nice. So you get a lot of amenities with it. Most of them now try to do things like a little, um putt-putt, and
Yeah.
tee box and those kind of things out there just
Mhm.
for, just that they do that just for entertainment and for them to have something else. And then they'll have swimming pools. Some have full size, some may have a spa
Yeah.
type, um, a gym. You've got a gym on property with most of them. So there are
There's a chapel,
oh, yeah,
yeah.
chapel. They
Yeah.
have all of those things, and this is to me the good part. Is that you don't have to cook. You
Yeah.
can make sandwiches, you can do whatever's in a microwave, you can do all that in your own apartment.
And
It's
they
very
have
private.
outings. They have days that they'll take everybody out to
Yes,
go shopping, go to a restaurant, whatever it is.
and
So I
that's a
think,
big deal.
yeah, it's good for people to really, when they're thinking about even considering going to independent or even assisted,
Mhm.
is understanding that uh, it can be a very rewarding thing. And as far as the assisted living, like you had mentioned earlier, some places are all inclusive. They have an all inclusive price to where here's what you're
Mhm.
going to pay. Then you have those that some have, three levels of care, some have four. I've had some that has six.
Yeah.
And even when you start talking about the memory care, it's just because someone has early signs of dementia, just like my mother, that doesn't mean they have to go to memory care. That they may have higher
Right.
levels of care in the assisted living to allow them to come in to that,
Mhm.
that you don't have to just stick them into memory care.
Mhm.
So
Exactly,
people
exactly.
understanding that.
Yes, exactly, and, to me, assisted living, I used to tell people all the time when they say, "I just don't know," and I'd say, "What do you not know? You don't
Yeah.
have to cook, you
Yeah.
don't have to do your laundry."
Yeah.
It's a
You get to
coming
hang
into
out with
a
people that are
wonderful
going through the
yeah,
same
you've
stuff.
got people around you, and I think we all found out through COVID, socialization is key for so many people.
Yeah.
Getting out and being around others and that kind of thing. So you have the chance to stay in your apartment, be private, or you can get out.
Mhm.
Um, and they do have a van. Most of them have a van. Some of them even have a van that's, handicap accessible, wheelchair accessible, those kind of things for people to go. And a lot of them even have a car that if
Yeah.
they help get you to a doctor's appointment.
Right.
So you can get that kind of assistance when you
And there's
go in.
vendors that serve the communities too. There's
Oh gosh, yeah.
outside vendors. But you said something I think is important to make note of for people when they're going to tour and visit. and they're leaving their home and they're going in and they see the room that they'll be occupying. And of course, they look small. But I think it's very important for people to understand, just like the room you sleep in at your house, and you've got the rest of your property, that entire community is your home. So don't look at it to where I'm leaving my house for this room. No, you're leaving your house for everything you see.
Yes. Yes. And they're nice. I mean, they're very nice. I'm a fan of assisted livings. I think they bring a lot to the table for everybody. When you reach that point that you might need a little extra care.
Yeah.
But there are people that want to stay at home, and we're going to get into some of those too and talk about those in this series, on how they stay home. And then the memory care side, this is the piece I want people to understand for memory care, is that just because somebody may have dementia and they're over in memory care, we had a lot of people that their families were very active with them. And when our activity would be maybe go out to lunch that day to one of the restaurants, we would have a van full, but we would have family members that would come and take their loved one and meet everybody at the restaurant. So even though you're in memory care, that doesn't mean that you're just over in this unit locked away. You're not.
Drooling. Yeah.
You can participate. We had an on-site therapy group at one of them. All assisted livings don't have on-site therapy, but this one happened to, and they went out and did raised bed flower gardens over in memory care. Who doesn't love to dig in the dirt? So, they got to go over and do that. So there are a
Which
lot of
stimulates their
things.
mind.
Yeah, it does. Well, you're working your small motor skills when you're doing that. You're cognitively working to do that. So there's a lot of benefits, even if it's not in-house therapy doing it, even if the activity director is doing that, and some of the staff is going out to help and do some of those things, then you're exercising your brain and your muscles and a lot of things to do and participate in some of the activities. I know when I was working in assisted living, my husband, his degree is in horticulture. No, I don't have plants and stuff without my doing them. He doesn't. So, he's like anybody else that works in it. But he went with me one weekend and we went over and took pots, and we had gone and bought all kind of little things, little fairy, statue things and all those kind of little things to go in it. And we went over and did dish gardens with the residents one Saturday. We had the best time. It was just so much fun, doing that. They enjoyed it so much. It was, you just get so tickled at them because you give them these small pots and they were just putting everything in it, everything in it. But it was funny, but they so enjoyed it and they kept them, they got to take them to their room. And of course I was working there. So I got to make sure, okay, did you get this watered? And, those kind of things. But they really enjoy doing that. And so all that's there at your fingertips. I'll tell you something else that in assisted living I've seen that, again, I think this is so important and stimulating for people. Most of them will do an exercise group of some sort. They may have, something up on TV where they do YouTube and they do some things. Silver Sneakers, a lot of times, they'll bring that up and do exercise. But I did work for a company that did what they called a university. And every week they went into the activity room and we had a video. They all got notebooks. They could take notes. We had handouts with it. And they did this university that was just lifelong learning. That's all it was. We did from a comedy thing to airplanes, those kind of things. But you've got all that available in assisted. Now, you've got all that available in independent if you're in a community that has all that. So there's just a lot to it. But assisted living does offer that nursing care. that is sometimes needed. So if you
Yeah.
need someone to help you with your shower, then they will do that. They can
Yeah.
assist you with your shower. They can assist you to get to the dining room. They're not going to let you miss a meal, even if you mentioned just maybe have mild dementia,
Yeah.
and starting to forget some things like that. You may not be ready to move over to a memory care unit, but
Yeah.
the staff will come and get you. They're not gonna, that staff knows who comes to that dining room on a regular basis,
Yeah.
and they're gonna go get whoever it is. So you've just got so much available to you when you go into a community like that, but yet you still have your independence.
Yeah.
You're not
Well, I
giving
think,
up.
yeah. And to kind of close out and sort of share to where someone that's watching this and they're going, we've been talking and I've been
Mhm.
considering, is it time to downsize? Is it time to go to independent living? Maybe, consider assisted living, or maybe someone's in the throes of caretaking for their loved one that they is kind of outpacing them, that even the in-home care is outpacing them, and they need
Mhm.
to make those decisions and those hard decisions of we almost don't have a choice now.
Right.
Thankfully, we do have the money to pay and to move them
Mhm.
to assisted or memory care. Is what do I do and how do I go about that? And that's, of course, the essence of what we do here at CareQuest, or any uh, local placement agency is highly
Mhm.
recommended. Don't go online and fill out a form with, not knowing who you're filling the form out
Yeah.
for, because it
True.
may be a place that just cast your data everywhere and then you're getting bombarded with phone calls. So that's what we do. You make a phone call and find out what you're looking for. Is it independent? Is it assisted? Is it memory care? And on your behalf, at no charge, do all the research. We know the communities. We find out what your
Mhm.
desires, your needs, your wants, your concerns are, and we address all of that and do
Yeah.
the groundwork to where all you got to do is sit back and go, okay, let's go on this tour together, and you can, see if this it feels right for you.
Yeah.
So really, that's all you have to
Yeah.
do is reach out to a local placement agency.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you, I will say I don't recommend to anybody trying to do this on your own. I mean, that's
Yeah,
why we're doing this, to tell everybody you're not by yourself. You're not on your own.
yeah,
And I would highly recommend, having worked in this industry as long as I have, for them to reach out,
yeah,
because yes, you can sit back and say, well, I can Google, I can look up this stuff
yeah,
myself. You can, but there's things that you're not going to know and understand
yeah,
like a CareQuest will.
yeah,
And like some of us do, having worked in it and having been around it. And this is what we do.
yeah.
It's what we want to help with, because it is time consuming to do all the research.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we've
plus
done
not
it.
knowing who to speak to, right? And
Right.
it's not just that, and as you know, it's multifaceted. You may need to make some other decisions you're not thinking of yet. You may
Hmm.
need to speak with an elder law attorney and see if you've got certain things in place. If you do have resources, you may have to look, maybe you need to look into asset
Hmm.
protection. You need to, if you're getting of the age, you need to consult with about all this Medicare, Medicaid. What's that about? Is if there's a veteran in the family, you need to be connected to those resources to make
Yes.
sure you're not leaving money on the table. It's so multifaceted to
Hmm.
where one call, just
Right.
call and
Right.
help connect
Yeah.
you to whomever. You ain't got to go through Googling and figuring out who do I talk to, an elder law, who do I talk to, with Medicaid. It gets overwhelming.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I encourage everybody to reach out. I know we've got a lot of people following us, listen to the podcast. So there's a form on CareQuest site. They can reach out through that.
Mm-hmm.
Phone number is there, so they certainly can reach out that way. If you go over to the website that I've created, My Honest Answers on Aging, if you go over there, there's a form over there. Reach out to me. I'll get you in touch with who you need to be in touch with.
Mm-hmm.
If I can help, then I'm going to hold your hand and walk you down that road myself, and get you
Absolutely.
back with CareQuest, and we'll get you where you need to go on things. But please don't just try to do it on your own. Just reach out. Let us help.
Yeah.
That's what we're
Yep.
here for.
That's what we're here for.
Yep.
And Ann,
Absolutely.
so happy to be doing this
Yeah.
together, and you being
Me
a
too.
part of the team here in the show. And I think that's what we want everybody to realize. And please help support the channel. Share this, mention it,
Yeah.
because Ann and I both, we all know that you know someone that's going through it, have been through it, maybe you're going through it. And if you keep living and God gives the days, you're going to go through it. So
Yes.
this is not anything that we're selling. We're just trying to provide
Yeah.
some love and guidance and some information to help families through a very difficult phase of their life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to wait till there's a difficult phase in your life. Go ahead and start now,
Right.
right? Think
Yeah, make
about
the connection. Yeah,
make
make
the
the connection.
connection.
And I think it's worth saying to them, you're talking about going through all this. I want everybody to understand, please, you're right. We're just getting information out, and there's no
Yeah,
cost to them to do this.
correct.
They're not going to pay anything to reach out to us, to reach out to CareQuest, to let us help them. It's not going to cost them. It's going to
Yep.
save them their time.
And
um, you know,
stress.
but yeah,
Yeah.
and the stress. But there's so much more to cover, and we'll cover it in these other series too. We're going to get into some of the cost and those kind of things to help.
Yep. And here's a
So,
recap of the what's coming up on the next episodes.
mhm.
And so we'll be and this is just the beginning. Wow, we've got a
Yeah, we do.
spreadsheet long as my leg of topics to cover, and I don't think that's still covering everything. So I'm very
Yeah,
excited about Ann and I coming out and just bringing content and bringing value to the space, and
yeah.
encourage everybody to like, subscribe, notification bell, and help us spread the word, because we really have both have a passion and a mission that we feel like God wants us to be on. So with that said, do you have anything you want to close out before we end this episode?
The only other thing, Mark, is just to tell everybody thank you so much. We sent out our first episode, and the number of comments and the likes and the
Mhm.
shares just really did my heart good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's what we want to see again. So please continue to
absolutely.
share. Please go over to the YouTube channel
Mhm.
and subscribe to that, and
Please.
just share this with people. We just want
Yeah.
the word out there. But I do appreciate all the wonderful comments and people that started to follow. And I
Yeah.
just look forward to growing more and more.
And you made a good point. I want to kind of throw in there to where, because this is on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, all that stuff.
Mhm.
But yeah, please go to the YouTube channel.
Yes.
That is where the podcast is parked.
Mhm.
So comments there, shares there, that it really helps a lot. But anyway, Ann, enjoyed it. Good job, and we will see you guys on the next show. Until then, have a fantastic day.